A brand new player is entering the Android arena, and while we've lost a lot of popular contenders over the past few years, we could have a new Enthusiast phone to consider later this year. But what is a Clicks communicator all about, and what will it be, and will it be all we hope it can be? Let's get into it. If you like Android talking points, news, and even terrible opinions from yours truly, then tickle that subscribe button to be part of the crew. I'd love to have you. I think we can all agree that one of the best things about Android is that there are so many variations on the formula of what makes up a phone, and what happens at the top end is, it's a bit of a convergence. We lose things, we gain other things, functions fall out of favour or just get replaced by new technologies, but there's still cool stuff going on under the surface. Let's face it though, the smartphone has evolved to the stage where at the top end of the market they all pretty much look identical, or at least the core remains arguably the same. That's where I think devices like the Clicks communicator are kind of hoping to change things to help restore what is a bygone era of the smartphone as we knew it. It's a real minimalist handset that, while people being positioned as a secondary device, might be what a lot of people were looking for at a time when digital minimalism might be a firebreak that we need to minimize our smartphone additions and distractions. As someone who covers phones extensively, I'm really intrigued by it because it's just something different, something that strikes at the nostalgia-driven portion of my brain while being unique enough in 2026 to demand some sort of attention. We see complaints of true blue Android enthusiasts across the board here as well. While I don't think this is a perfect approximation, it does tackle a lot of people's problem areas. I'll get into those in just a second because this is still a hybrid device at its heart, and the hardware, like I say, looks like a BlackBerry of old, but it addresses some of those complaints and adds some tactility that maybe some people were hoping for. And regardless of how you approach it, the communicator appears and feels like a product from an entirely different era in smartphones. It's small, it's wedge-shaped, and it has a boxy design with swappable backplates that spit in the face of whatever glass and metal sandwich resides in your pocket right now. It skirts the analog and digital like the BlackBerry lineup of old used to do, and that's something that I think is the biggest draw for a lot of people. And on top of that, the physical keyboard is a big selling point. It has that 4.03 inch squarish touchscreen, which definitely has more in common with the BlackBerry Bold than any Pixel released today. Practically every feature is aimed at enthusiasts. You have a customizable notification LED, a micro SD card support that supports expansion up to 2 terabytes. It has 256 gigabytes of onboard storage by default. There's a 3.5mm headphone port. This just reads like a Samsung spec sheet from more than a decade ago. Nothing about this device feels like a modern 2026 product which omits things rather than adds things, and we mean that in the best way possible. I know what you're saying. Some of you behind the screen going, but the Unihertz Titan lineup exists. Well, I hear you. It's a great point, and while those devices scratch some of that itch for anyone with a passion for physical buttons and BlackBerry hardware, and you can get them right now, the team behind this does include Michael Fisher, and I have no doubt he's seen and tested those handsets extensively and knows the strengths and indeed weaknesses, and hopefully that means a more refined product here with the Clicks communicator. Another big question mark, I think, is how this is being positioned as a secondary device, a companion as it were. Is that enough of a reason to potentially get one? I don't think the price is exorbitant. It's still not cheap though, at around $500 once pre-order discounts do end in a few months. There is no mention of the chipset being used here, and I don't think that's ideal. It might stop some people from placing a pre-order because you're not exactly fully informed before dropping serious cash, despite a pretty substantial spec sheet being made available. There's also a single 50 megapixel camera at the rear, which could be inhibiting to many, but I think sometimes having less lenses is a good thing as it means you experiment more with the camera. A significant component out of the box also relies heavily on Niagara launcher as a default home screen experience on top of Android 16. Using a third-party launcher could be a recipe for disaster in the long term in my experience, because it might not be to everybody's taste, but I do think the beauty of Android is you can switch this up, or you should be able to switch this up to work however you want it to. I'm also wondering who wants a secondary device as a method to try and stop you from using your primary device. That's something I'm trying to wrap my head around. That's really a very small pool of people, but as a primary phone, I think maybe there is enough interest from those of you out there who like the idea of living with an early 2000s era BlackBerry, but with more modern hardware and something that will work with 5G networks. Still has a bit of Android as well thrown in there that you know and love, so you can kind of tinker with it as you wish. Another intriguing question is, why does this exist, or why is this coming out when the Clicks keyboard case already exists? So that offers you a way to retrofit an existing supported phone without giving up some of the things that you're used to on a modern smartphone. Maybe that's why the company actually announced the power keyboard alongside this device. And I think personally, this is where a lot of us should be spending our time and money, as it can be added to an existing phone. All you do is snap it to the back of your device with MagSafe or Pixel Snap or a case that supports that, and you get all the benefits potentially of the communicator without any of the potential drawbacks that it may have. I think that is a good way to really play both sides, as it were. Maybe this is a way for them to drum up interest in the accessory, which is probably where most people will look. There's a phone as well that fits the needs of a specific hardcore phone fan, because personally I do think that there will be iPhone fans out there who have a fondness for their old BlackBerry form factor. Plus, those of you who are Android elitists get a potential replacement or a sidearm that scratches some itches and addresses some common complaints that a vocal minority have with practically every single phone launch. You know the type of people I'm talking about. I have a bigger concern though. Everybody wants something new from the tech space, but when someone does try it or goes off-piste and it doesn't quite live up to expectations or potentially overwhelming expectations, then we kind of all grumble and go back to the same brands that we complain about year in, year out. The Nothing phone lineup actually springs to mind here, and it's a bit of a testament to that, but maybe that has its own problems because it's a fan-led company. I think having tempered expectations is really sensible for any device that releases, and why I think Clicks has been positioned as a companion rather than an outright new phone, even if it technically is that, as it will take a SIM and an eSIM, and you can use it as a standalone device if you want. I also want to clarify that I don't know Michael Fisher personally, nor do I know anyone on the Clicks team. However, some people I do know have contact or have spoken to them in the past, or know the team behind this product. In that regard, while I do hope that this product succeeds, mainly for the wider Android space, all of these opinions are mine, and mine alone. The thing is, I'm questioning, can a digital minimalist product like this succeed at such a late stage in the smartphone life cycle? We have other options out there that try and do similar things, but maybe not quite the same, as it were. I think it really is a tough uphill battle that I kind of hope leads us to more wacky things making to market. Maybe this can be a catalyst for more cool stuff like this. I don't think tech is devoid of fun nowadays, but I just would love to see more strange and interesting products like this throughout 2026 to keep us going, as smartphones kind of have banked on AI, and that's always not that interesting to talk about in the same way that new hardware is. I want to ask you, what do you think? Let me know down in the comment sections below. I'm really tempted to put in a pre-order, but probably for the keyboard case, which is shipping from around springtime this year. The communicator is going to come later this year, and I do think it may be subject to some changes as well, despite non-working samples being shown off recently at CES. Could be really interested though, because I think we don't get very many new projects on Android nowadays, and obviously with bigger players exiting the market, it's nice to see some smaller players at least trying to take up a space or take up a mantle somewhere else. But yeah, let me know what you think down in the comment section below, or have you put in a pre-order already? What are you excited about? What do you not like? What do you don't like? All that kind of stuff. Let me know down in the comment sections below. But cheers, and yeah, I'll speak to you later.